Check out the man with the fuzzy head. He might be alive, he could be dead. You know what I'm saying? Okay, life is about that long. It's really short. Now check this out. First, there's you, right? You're alive. You're like in your life. This is your lifespan from here to here, from there to there. Okay. Before you, there was your mama and your papa, and then there was the grandmama and the grandpapa, whether you knew them or not. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So there's human life, then there's human life, then there's you. And then there's children that come out of you, and you might be an anti-breeder or something like that, believe you never have children, but whatever. In the human life and flow, you have influenced people, and people have been an influence over you. And then there's children, and then there's grandchildren, and then there's grandchildren and grandchildren. But over this flow of human life, there's another reality. Okay, here's your life right here. You live and you die. But there are spirits that are watching over the flow of human beings. Okay, there's spirits over you that were over your parents and over your grandparents, and there's a flow of hundreds and truly and logically thousands of spirit beings who are in structures of watchfulness and structures of tricksterness over the human lineage. Okay? They're spirits. The spirits don't die. They're jealous of you. You've got a protein casing. You can taste things. They don't know what the sense of taste is. The spirits around you don't have the ability to taste and touch and feel warmth inside of you. You know, like you drink a cup of warm beverage. Okay? So they're actually, those spirit beings over you are merely created entities. They were formed by the divine artist, who was totally huge above this whole picture. Okay, the humans are in between the spirit beings, the angels, and the animals. Okay, we have a physical body that's dumb like an animal that we need to control. It has needs, desires, etc., etc. But we also have in us an animating essence, an inside spirit person that is actually the captain of the little animal of the body. So we learn both from the spirits and from the animals how to perform as human beings. And you can think this is theoretical and stuff like that, but I mean, if you're up on the YaHVeH wisdom, and if you understand the proofs, you know, Messianic prophecies, Dead Sea Scrolls proves that all those hundreds of predictions point to Messiah. So the book is not just some screwed up, you know, list of rules that have all been messed around with. Like, you got to face the fact that there's a sweet spirit that has spoken in peculiar ways through all peoples and has pointed to the special one that showed up. So here's the deal. All right, so you're in your low life, right? And there's wild stuff that goes on. And there are spirit beings watching over you. And they're actually watching to see whether you're utilizing the stuff that the highest one is giving, including CATALINA They're trying to find out whether you're using the gift from the highest spirit that actually causes your individual soul person to shake loose from all the sadness and distraction. And so, if you're not interested in researching and really going in amongst the peoples that are focused on miracles, signs, wonders, and that groovy spirit language, then you may be showing the universe that you're really not that interested in the higher things of the spirit realm and the afterlife. So, consider this and meditate upon this. If you were given the surprise language as a gift, to do three things: to encourage you, to strengthen you, and to actually comfort you, because it helps you, it makes you feel like a little kid in a sandbox going, bah! Before you even know how to talk. You know, you're like asking for applesauce to a parent who actually knows exactly what you're saying. And these things are sweet. They are not weird. These things came first through the followers of Yehoshua Messiah. That's what his mama called him. Yehoshua! Yeshua! When the guy was being called, the Jesus from Nazareth guy was being called by his mommy, he was being called Yeshua! Yehoshua! Come on, come to dinner. So, you know, if you want to get hung up on names, it's reasonable to say that Jesus, which is based on Zeus, which is a Greek god, is not the most palatable thing to to some of those who know and understand some of the Hebrew roots of this. So that's my little comment on the speaking in tongues medical study thing. There's other comments I could make, but you know, hundreds of predictions in the Hebrew scriptures. Hundreds of people are rumored to have seen the guy alive across a period of 40 days, and hundreds of thousands of miracles, signs, and wonders are rumored to have been done in a 3-year span, making this Jesus of Nazareth guy arguably the most famous human being in all of human history. And, you know, if that's a myth or if that's some screwed up thing, who cares? But you don't look like a churchy kind of person. So try talking to him on the sly and see what happens. Try getting a copy of the scriptures and opening it up and seeing if there's a flow that comes over you. And be careful, because there's 3 parts to the scriptures. 1, predictions and preparations for the Messianic visitation. That's the Tanakh. 2, the life and teachings of the Messiah, which means the supernatural visitor. Mashiach basically means supernatural visitor. And 3, the third part of the Bible from Acts down to Revelation is the life of the Spirit of Yeshua of Nazareth in very ordinary people, like commercial fishermen and like con artist business people. Yeshua picked gutsy, in-your-face, bold peoples in general to make up the bundle of people that were around him. So, in these words, I encourage you, check out the writings of Don Basham, a guy who was like a Baptist seminary preacher guy, who all of a sudden started discovering that there is a clean, clear gift, a mystical sweetness that comes through the Yeshua Avenue in the Voyakarabeta Kandika, in the little language. You know, it's cool. Read Like a Mighty Wind, where Meltari says, I hated tongues. And God actually talked to him about it. He said, hey, if I want to give you a little thing that seems like kind of goofy and not that necessary, and I want to give it to you because I love you, are you going to reject it? If I'm your, you know, your God, your spirit, your Geppetto who designed you and gave you a little boy life, you're going to reject what I'm giving to you? And you might also look at the, oh man, like in my life. I'm speaking something, and my friend Abdul says, you are saying, God help me, in Arabic. And then I'm saying something else, and somebody that knows Farsi is saying, you're saying Farsi. Hurry, 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 hurry. And then somebody else is saying, hey, you're speaking in a Farsi word. Who would have thunk that the language is sometimes understandable in actual human words? And then there's these times where someone's speaking out in the spirit, and a person gets an interpretation, and then another person says, how did that person speak French? They said this and this, and this person over here had interpreted by the Spirit that they said this and this, but this person didn't know French, this person did, and the person in the middle that was speaking didn't know what the heck he was saying. He was just lifting his heart up and saying, so, investigate these things. Have the guts to go in the environments that you don't like, because God will offend your mind to find out where your heart really is. God will call you to go into environments that actually have some messed up things in them from time to time in order to find out whether you know how to pick between the wise and the foolish, and the garbage and the treasures. In any presentation in the church mess in America, I guarantee you're going to find a couple of pieces that do not fit the whole message. But if you refuse to go into the church mess in America, you may actually never receive the treasures that are being handed out. If you look at Matthew 13 and read it carefully, it's got the coolest parables. It's got the wildest stuff. And the wildest one of my favorites, is the kingdom dragnet. Okay, now check this out. The kingdom of God is like a big net that got set down into the sea and caught all kinds of fish. Good fish, bad fish, eatable fish, and trash fish for the fishermen. And the fish was drawn up onto the beach, and the fishermen gathered up the good fish, and they threw away the bad fish. Well, this is the explanation of the parable, is that the focus on the kingdom of God gathers all types of people in. And then Yeshua says, in the end, it is the angels, like the fishermen, who will sort out what the good fish are, the good souls, and the bad souls. So your job is to be in the kingdom dragnet of a focus on YaHVeH and Yehoshua and all the things of Spirit God. And your job is not to complain about the bad fish that are in the net with you, but rather to be the good fish, because YaHVeH can actually turn a bad, useless fish into a good fish in the twinkling of an eye. And it's not up to you to do those kinds of things. It's you to enjoy your presence in the gathered in ones that are flowing toward God, and in the end, the angels are going to sort it out. So I use this as an encouragement to you to not be offended, but rather to go in as the Spirit leads you. And you ask, you say, okay, hey, Jesus stuff, whatever. Just ask Jesus if he's real on the inside. Ask if he's real. And he will make himself manifest to you if you ask with all heart. He'll actually start showing you that he's really alive in the spirit realm. And things get a little funky along the line from that. Ask him how you're supposed to study. Ask him how you're supposed to move and do and go. And don't be afraid of going into the church mess in America. We're in a peculiar circumstance where we've been born, or at least I've been born, into the freedom of religion zone, where I'm not going to get my hands chopped off if I'm carrying a Bible around. There are completely different spirit parameters in the environments where, religion is free. Your real battle is you're surrounded by people who are cheesing out and not really following what's supposed to be followed. The biggest problem in the freedom of religion zone is the fight is, you get hit by friendly fire. You got to keep your wits about you. You've got to know the scriptures yourself. You're surrounded by books, access to information, computer libraries. You can find out. If you just start with the Yeshua words, and you start with the red words in the book of Acts. That's how God talks to people. In the book of Acts, I think there's a couple of places. If you want to do the red letters thing, flip through the book of Acts and find out where there are red letters in the book of Acts. That's how Yeshua talks to the people that have fallen in love with him. And also, read the red letters in the scriptures and enjoy them. Especially Matthew 5, 6, and 7. Those are the new commandments of the Spirit age. You have heard it said, don't kill somebody with a knife. But now I say to you, if you've got so much bitterness in your heart towards somebody that it's spilling out through your mouth, you essentially are going to receive a kind of capital punishment from the Eternal One, perhaps, unless you change your heart and your spirit. So, speaking in tongues, medical study, freedom,